I don't want to stop the
I
bus.
want you to stop the bus.
Shut up.
Gee, whiz, stop the bus. Stop the bus.
Ahoy, hoy, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The O Show. I'm O, and I'm here for your amusement. All right, so before we start the show, you guys, just a heads up. If I sound like really crazy and gross, I don't know why, okay? The day after Easter, and pretty much that whole week, my nose has just been congested. I had a sore throat for like 3 days. The throat is fine. My nose is just still craziness. I had like stomach cramping 2 days. Like I thought I was going into labor, and like, but that's gone away. But all that's left is now like me sounding crazy. Like I can't hit like my singing notes like I used to do. Like that's not. I'm not even joking. That's me trying to hit an A. Okay, I don't know, so I have to go to the doctor. But in the meantime, I want to talk about one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and it was Bustin Loose, okay? Ooh, Bustin Loose. All right, you guys, like, I've been taking, I thought it was allergies. I've been taking allergy medicine left and right. I feel like I'm a walking, like, chemistry set right now. Like, don't let me get near an open flame. Okay, yeah, I gotta get this taken care of. This is not sexy at all. All right, so anyway, we're gonna talk about Bustin Loose, you guys. Starring the late great Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson. Aw. So this movie came out in 81, and when it came on TV, like I made sure to watch it every single time. So let's talk about this movie. So Richard Pryor is playing a character named Joe Braxton, who is pretty much this con man. So he's out up to no good, and he is with his partner Marvin, played by Paul Mooney. So these fools are trying to steal like 75 televisions from this appliance store, right? So this one guy in the store is like, hey, I think this guy's a fraud, but the boss man, he's down with everything and everyone. He's like, let's help the main man out, right? So anyway, the plan like foils, and Marvin drives away with the truck, dropping all the TVs out the back and everything. So Braxton gets put into jail and ends up in front of the court. He totally tricks the judge, making it seem like, hey, I would rather go to jail than go back on parole with this parole officer. And the judge is like, well, you know what? You're going back to the parole officer. So his parole officer is a man named Donald, and he is played by a actor named Christian. Wait, no, his name is Robert Christian, right? And it just so happens that Donald is in a relationship with this woman named Vivian Perry. Now, Miss Perry, who's played by Cicely Tyson, she's like this teacher of this school, and the school is being shut down because of budget cuts. So there was a whole bunch of kids who got rehoused. Unfortunately, the fate of 8 of the children are unknown, right? Because like apparently they have like special needs, and I'm gonna talk about that because a couple of them I was like, what's that person's special need? But Miss Perry, she's like, well, you know what? The school is closing. I have an aunt and uncle who live on this farm in Washington where I grew up. And currently they're in Philadelphia, right? So she's like, my plan is to kind of move some paperwork around and then get the children from Philadelphia to Washington State. Okay? So she's talking to Donald about it, and she's like, I need you to find someone to drive a bus for me. So now that Donald is stuck with Braxton, he's like, well, you know what? I need you to do something for me since, you know, I'm your parole officer and I need you to do shit. So he tells Joe to go look at this bus and tell Miss Perry that it's shit. Okay, like the bus is not going to drive. And that's what he does. But he's really lying. Like he's looking at the bus. He sees that, yeah, it's a piece of shit, but it can drive. It's that it's not going to drive. But that's the story that he tells. But then he kind of outs Donald too. And he's like, well, that's what you wanted me to tell her. You wanted me to tell her that the bus don't drive. So, of course, now Donald's plan is like foiled. And so Miss Perry's like, what the hell? So she's like, well, you know what? Since this bus can drive, I'm going to have Mr. Braxton drive me and the kids to Washington. So that's what she does. Donald's all pissed off about it, but he's like, okay, you know what? Fine. Just go. And he tells Joe, you have 15 days. You got 15 days to go there, and I'm going to get you a ticket, and you get your ass back here to Philadelphia. Right? So now we are off on this road trip of a movie. Okay, so y'all, let's talk about these kids. So again, there's 8 kids, right? So, and they're already bad as hell. Like, no wonder they couldn't be housed. Like, they're fighting on a bus, and they're harassing Joe while he's driving and shit. So, and they're throwing their workbooks out the window. All right, so let's see. So we got Annie, right? So Annie's the first kid. Now, Annie is this Asian girl, and I think she seems to be like the oldest out of all of them. But unfortunately, when she was growing up, she was put into prostitution, right? And it's kind of weird when you watch the movie, the way she kind of introduces herself and interacts with Joe, because she's doing her, I guess, charm to get the job done situation, you know? But then when you look at Joe, it's just all going over his head because he has no idea what these kids' problem is. Obviously, he does with the one kid who's blind, but we'll get to him. But when it comes to Annie, you know, she's always like, oh, hey, Joe. And he's like, oh, hey, girl, you know, because he's just being friendly. But then later on, it's going to come back around, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, so we got Annie, who was the one put into prostitution. Then we have Anthony. Now, Anthony is a pyromaniac. Unfortunately, he lost his parents due to him playing with matches by the curtains, and his house blew up. Well, it blew up. It just burned down. But he was trying to wake his parents up or get his parents out or something, but unfortunately, they all perished in the fire. So we do get moments of Anthony playing with fire through this movie, so we'll talk about that too. So that's Anthony. Now we got Ernesto, who is Puerto Rican, but I guess he's just a problem child. Like, see, now he's one of the people who I'm like, okay, well, and I get it. Maybe that the movie did not intend for everyone to have special needs, but when you say these kids have special needs, so I guess maybe he was just like a troubled soul, right? He doesn't really like do anything. I mean, he becomes a strong Puerto Rican in the end, but yeah, I guess he's just like a adolescent kid, I guess. Okay, so now we get to Harold, right? Now Harold is blind, right? He's a blind kid who loves to drive. I know, like, figure that out. But so that's gonna come into play soon too. But yeah, so Harold's the blind one.
Hey, brother.
What the hell's the matter with you, man?
He's blind, stupid. Help him on.
Why don't you zip his pants up if he's blind?
Then we have Julio, who he has like this obsession with wanting to go fishing. But when you watch him during the movie, just like Ernesto, it's like, okay, what's your special need? Like, are you just a troubled Mexican, I guess? Like, is that what's happening? I have no idea. Now, what's strange too, before I get into the other kids, apparently, like, now I don't know where they found these kid actors from, but no one else did anything. I think the girl that plays, I don't remember if it was Annie or Linda, but they went on to do like maybe like 1 or 2 other movies and then they stopped acting. But everyone else stopped acting. Like, this is like their only acting credit, right? Except for this guy who plays Julio. Now, his name is Angel Ramirez Jr. And he was in a lot of things. Like, he was a guy in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Okay, he's one of the teenage kids in what's that guy's name? Anyway, he's there. But what always just confused me when I looked at his movie roles is they always credit him in the movie I Like It Like That, and which is one of my favorite movies. But they always say he's one of the Mendez brothers. But in the movie, there's 2 Mendez brothers played by 2 other actors, and they say that his role is uncredited. So I used to always be like, well, which one is he? Like, is he in one of is he in the end scene when they're singing the outro song? Is he like one of the other brothers? I don't know. It's really weird. If you know the answer to this, let me know, because I've been trying to figure out who the hell this man is after all these years in this movie. All right, the next kid we have is Linda. Now, Linda's the little white girl. And again, what's her need? Is she like the original Karen? Because she be telling people's business and everything, getting attitudes. So I don't know if that's like her problem. But I never, maybe she's just loud. Maybe no one wants to be around her because she's loud. So anyway, you got Linda.
Miss Linda, I'm a lady on this trip, and I'm gonna be a great. Get on the bus. Get on the bus. My daddy is having a bus. Oh, go with your daddy. I don't want to hear it. Get on the bus. He loves to drive. He's always.
I don't care. Drive your ass to the back of the bus. Do that.
Hey.
You got Samantha. Now Samantha's the little black girl. But I guess her problem is like she has this stuffed teddy bear named Dakota. And for some reason she thinks Dakota is alive. Like Dakota wants to do this. Dakota wants to do that. Dakota has to go pee. Like, like we don't know if the girl is like crazy, but she's obsessed with this teddy bear named Dakota. So I don't know. Maybe that's what her issue is. Last but not least, we have Martin. Martin's the black kid or the black boy. There's a black girl and a black boy. I guess he kind of falls into the same category as Julio and Ernesto, but I guess his stick is he's a pickpocket. All through the movie, he seems to always be able to take people's wallets out their pants. So, all right, well, he's a thief in training. So the first night of this trip is so funny. Like they go to this motel, but I guess there's not a lot of money for Joe to get his room. So Miss Perry makes him sleep on the bus, which he ain't really happy about. So while he's sleeping, she comes to the door and tells him like, hey, I need you to help me go find these three boys. These three boys ran off. And he's like, I ain't no damn babysitter. So she's like, well, fine. Like, go watch the other kids in room number 5, right? And he takes his sweet lovely time doing that. So she goes out to look for the boys. He goes back to sleep. But then here comes damn Samantha with that goddamn bear talking about Dakota has to go pee.
What?
Dakota has to go pee.
Let the bear pee in your pocket. Leave me alone.
So Samantha finally gets Joe to the room. He gets there just in time because these kids are running crazy. Fucking Ernesto's about to blow up a TV set. Then you got damn Anthony. He'd have built this whole structure out of like matches. It was about to set this thing on fire. Like, boy, here's the thing about Anthony, right? You got a pyromaniac kid who just somehow always comes into contact with matches, but no one ever like thinks to check this kid's pockets. Like, where does he get all these matches from? Because in the next scene, I'm gonna finish this scene right now. But in the next scene, we actually show a stop that the bus makes, and Miss Perry's on the phone. Joe's at the bus, but he looks and he sees Anthony in this hayfield, and he's starting to fire. And so, you know, he goes over, and he stops it and whatever. And this is like Joe, like, you know, you got the hard ass, like, I'm just driving the bus, Joe. And then as the movie goes on, you see how Joe is learning more about these kids and opening up. But there's Anthony again, like burning shit with fire. Like, where is he getting these matches? So anyway, to get the kids' attention, he's like, well, let's play some strip poker, right? But apparently that must not have went good, because when Perry finds the other three boys, she finds their asses in an arcade somewhere in town. So when she gets back, Joe's outside in his pajamas, and she's like, where's the kids? And they're all in the closet, like, holding his clothes captive. And she's like, what's going on here? So, like, obviously this man was teaching these kids how to play strip poker and was fucking losing. Like, so fast forward to another night. The bus, like, broke down somewhere. And Joe's underneath fixing it. He's pretty much doing it, like, all day. And then that night it starts raining. So it's just nothing but mud all over the place, right? So he finally gets the bus fixed, and he's like, okay, let's get out of here. But as he's trying to start it and go, the bus is stuck. So he's like, okay, I'm going to go and get some help. So he's walking down this road to find help, which don't know where the hell he's gonna find help at. But who finds him? The fucking Ku Klux Klan. And you know what's funny too about this movie? Like, as I said, like growing up, I used to watch it on regular TV because this is the years I didn't have cable. But like watching it now, but when I don't remember when I did watch it like uncut, but watching it uncut, then you start hearing like where swear words were taken out and edited for TV. So it's just so funny, like his reaction when he sees that the Ku Klux is behind him. Because there was a lot of years I just never heard that. So when I finally got to hear it, I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. So somehow he gets the KKK to come back to the damn bus. And then he's telling them like, look, you guys, like they're blind. I gotta get them to a hospital so they can have an operation. Like, you guys gotta help us. So the Klan is like, okay, well, you know what? Let's help him out just because of these kids, right? So they get behind the bus and they're pushing, and Joe finally gets the bus out. And these fools fall into all this mud and get their robes all dirty. And then on top of that, not only did they help this black man, all the kids obviously are not blind. So they're laughing their asses off at these guys.
Boys, I don't think we should tell anybody about this.
All right, so the movie's going on, and they eventually get to Montana, right? And so Julio sees a big lake, and he's like, "Oh my God, a lake! That means fishing." He's like, "You probably take me fishing, Joe." Oh, you know what? Maybe that was Julio's problem. Maybe he was just a liar. Because this whole movie, he's like, "Joe, you remember you told me you're gonna take me fishing?" "Oh, Joe, you probably take me fishing." Okay, so he's the liar. All right, never mind. So anyway. After Joe tells him to shut up, no, I didn't. He finally gives in. He's like, okay, you know what? Let's go fishing. Like, fuck it. Joe is teaching these kids how to fish. Catches a fish. And then when he gets it out, Samantha ends up falling into the lake, right? Now, tell me why all these stunt people are falling to this water, right? Samantha is not this tall. Like, she's just like stumpy little, like, chubby girl. But the person that falls into the water is not her same body size. So you got fake Samantha in the water. You got Pryor in the water. He gets her out. But then he seems to be not able to swim. So then Miss Perry flies in. And that's obviously not Cicely Tyson flying into this lake. Because they always just keep showing the backside of people. But she discovers that the water is actually like 4 feet tall. And Joe kind of tricked her to going in. So that was always a funny scene. So the next time the bus makes a stop at a motel, this is the scene where Joe goes off on Annie, right? So first of all, we got loud ass Linda talking crap. So then here goes Annie, and she's like, oh, you know, hey Joe. He's like, hey. So, you know, she's doing her thing as she normally does with him until she crossed that line. It was like, so do you think I'm pretty? Like, do you want to take me to your room? And that's when Joe goes off. And Joe's like, what the fuck? Right? And so you think like he's going to just go in on this girl. But yes and no, right? Like he has to let her know, like, this is wrong. Like, you can't fucking keep doing this. Even though you've done it before. Like, stop.
You could take me to your room and...
What the hell's wrong with you, man? You think you can say anything to anybody?
Don't you like me?
Yeah, I like you, but it don't mean I want to go to bed with you because I like you.
Why not?
You think everybody that likes you goes to bed with you?
Yeah, they do.
Well, they're sick. Well, they're wrong.
But...
It's wrong. God.
Please don't tell Miss Perry.
I'm not going to tell nobody. Just don't do it no more.
But what he didn't know is that Miss Perry is watching the whole time. So she didn't say nothing at first, but she did later that night. So she did come to his room and say like, hey, I saw what happened between you and Annie. And he was like, look, I'm not a social worker, right? I just drive the bus. So then here's a twist of the story, you guys. Like, while Miss Perry's in Joe's room, there's a knock on the door. Well, I think she's about to leave or something. But who's at the door? That goddamn Donald, right? Now, remember, this is 1981. There is no tracking system or anything on cars yet. There's no cell phones, which means your ass had to have been trailing this bus cross country. Like, don't you have a job, Donald? Like, I know he's a social worker, but aren't you a social worker for other people? And again, no cell phone. So you should really be in your office waiting for the phone to ring or for you to be checking in on your other, like, people. So, anyway, here's Donald. And he's all like, hey, Vivian, blah, blah, blah. Because again, how the fuck did he know that they were at this particular motel somewhere in the state of Montana? Or are they, well, I think they're still in Montana, something like that. But apparently he found out that she was like falsifying documents in order to get the kids from Philly to Washington. And she's like, well, I don't care about the law. Like, this is what I'm doing. Fuck you and fuck that. So then after this, we cut to nighttime. So apparently they're still in the hotel because Joe is asleep in his hotel room or in his bed. But then Perry comes to the door and says, hey, we're leaving. Like, I got the kids on the bus. Like, we are leaving this hotel now. So they're like sneaking out, which I never understood. So is Donald there? Did Donald leave? I'm guessing he left. I mean, she never says like, hey, you know what? Donald left, and while he's gone, like, we're leaving right now. And then, you know what's crazy too? Because on TV, which is really weird, because it's not like I'm looking at the man's crotch or anything, but in this scene, Joe is in these like red underwear, but on TV, you didn't see red underwear. So I think they like did like a cropping, because it's not like he's showing anything, but I mean, you know, whatever. But it's just really odd watching this. Like, okay, I used to watch this movie a lot as a kid. I did not remember him walking around in these like tight little red underwear. They can't even show red underwear on regular TV. Boy, TV has come a long way, huh? I feel like that's a normal standard now. So they're driving, right? So they had been driving for a while because the sun is out. It's daytime now. But we see that Donald is trailing the bus, right? So instead of like outrunning Donald, they're like, okay, let's just pull over, right? So they do. And then Perry and, well, actually, everyone gets off the bus except for Harold and Samantha. Which I don't know why they left Harold on the bus. But Harold, while everyone else got off the bus, he kind of hears that like Donald's here to take them back to Philadelphia. Harold's blind ass gets behind the wheel and starts taking off with the bus. And Samantha is on the back yelling out the window. So Joe sees that the bus is moving and holds on. So Joe is being dragged by this bus. Everyone piles into Donald's car and they have to chase this bus. Now, you know, obviously we don't know, like, is Harold 100% blind? We don't know. But he's doing kind of a good job on this road. Until he gets to a certain point, he kind of crashes the bus off the road.
I ain't going back to bus. I ain't going.
So they eventually get Harold from behind the seat and they calm him down and the kids are crying because they don't want to go back to Philly. And Perry's like, well, you know what? Like, everyone just fuck Donald. Everyone get back on the bus. So everyone gets back on the bus and Donald's like, Joe, don't you go. But Joe's like, hey, you know what? Stay between me. This is, you know, it has nothing to do with me. It's between y'all. I'm just here to drive the bus. So he gets on and takes off, right? So here comes badass Anthony talking about he took Joe's wallet and gave it to Donald, and then he took Donald's wallet and he has it like right here in his hand. And so he's like, well, you know, if the cops pull you over, you're fine. But the cops pull him over, he's fucked. And then we see in the very next scene that sure enough, like Donald gets pulled over by these cops. And they're like, okay, well, this guy claims he's a parole officer, but run this name, Joe Braxton. Which I get the joke, but I'm pretty sure people had pictures on their licenses back then. So I can't get across unless I'm missing something. Because why would, you know what I'm saying, guys? I get the joke. I guess the joke would have been like licenses don't have pictures on them. I don't know. Anyway, maybe that joke just didn't age right. So now we come to my favorite scene, you guys. And it's only my favorite scene because of the song that's playing. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Oh my God, you guys, like, I'm going to lose my record contract. So one big thing to talk about in this movie is the soundtrack. And the soundtrack to this movie was, if I'm not mistaken, all written and performed by Roberta Flack. Okay? Unfortunately, I sadly have to say the late, great Roberta Flack, as she passed away the year of our Lord, 2025. That was another reason I like this movie, because yeah, you like I used to always love musicals, but then you have movies that aren't musicals, and there's always that one song that the soundtrack is known for. But this is a movie where I can say, like, throughout, like, beginning to end, every song that plays, like, I was learning the words, I was just grooving, you know. And then you got this one who's all happy, and there's kids singing, and so this is when you think the movie's over, you guys. Like, after all that's been done on the road, they finally get to Miss Perry's family farm. And she sees the aunt and uncle, and there's chickens, and there's animals, and the kids get off the bus, and they're exploring, and they're doing things, and the song is playing, and you're like, oh, what a happy ending, right? No! This is not the end of this movie. We're going to like a whole brand new story now. First of all, for the third time, we see that goddamn Anthony playing with matches again. Yeah, for real. Like, seriously. Like, why is this boy not getting checked every time he walks out the door? Now, this time, Joe catches him trying to light like a little boat on fire. But this is when Anthony finally tells Joe about what happened to his family. So we get a little heartfelt moment there. But now, why does the little boy have matches in his hands again? All right, so anyway, here's the next part of this story, which is always just kind of got weird to me. So you get Miss Perry. She gets these kids to this farm, right? Everything's all nice and happy. But apparently, she's going to lose the farm because there's like this $15,000 tax bill on it or something. Now, you never see the aunt and uncle do anything. Like, you see them stand in the background, they're smiling in the background. But for some reason, Miss Perry is the one that has to now go to this bank with the kids. Like, they took this field trip into town. You can't really tell if is this the same day? Is it the next day? Like, I have no idea what the time frame of this part is. But someone decided to write it into the script. So anyway, she tries to get this loan, but the main guy of who apparently is also the mayor, but the head guy of this bank denies her offer. He comes back to the farm and tells Joe all about it, and I believe it's Ernesto that overhears the information. So now Ernesto comes back to the kids and says, hey, we got bad news, you guys. Miss Perry's going to lose this farm, and we're all going to go back to Philadelphia. Because who the hell said you're going back to Philadelphia, Ernesto? Kids just be adding stuff to stories. So anyway, that's what happened. So now the kids are like, blah, 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 blah. And then Joe now overhears the kids complaining and slaps Ernesto, tells him to shut up. It's like, y'all selfish, okay? This girl just risked her life and everything else to get y'all here, and y'all over here complaining. That was a little heated moment. So now Joe leaves, and Joe goes into town. And while he's in town, he sees this. In plain daylight, there is this sign that talks about, hey, come do this, like, Ponzi scheme. It's the weirdest sign, because you read that shit today, you're like, ain't no way I'm giving these people my money. Like, you're literally saying this is a pyramid scheme here. So he was like, well, so somehow Joe sells the bus and gets like $1,000 minimum. We don't know how much he actually sold the bus for, but he comes back and plays with at least $1,000, right? But then we stop and think about it, like, this piece of shit bus in this town that you know nothing about. Who the hell did you find to buy a bus that quick? It's still the same day. And you got at least $1,000 for it? I don't know. I always call shenanigans on that. Even when I was like a little boy. I was like, that don't sound right to me. So anyway, he comes in, right? And of course, these people are like, yeah, you give us our money, and then it splits, and then it doubles. And like, even what the guy is saying makes no sense because no one left the building. How am I going to give you my money? And then it's going to turn into this, and then turn into that, and turn into this. Like, I feel like as they were filming this scene, they were writing everything out too. I think they were just like, okay, now go in here, and this is the scenario, and just go, just do something. That's what happened. So Joe weasels his way to the front. He was like, well, you know what? I'm all about it. I'll give you all my money. Do you mind if I sit here and, you know, take the money as the people give it in? And, you know, the people are like, yeah, sure. Okay. But now here's my thing though. Why are there $1,000 bills? Now here's the thing. When I was a kid watching this movie, for all I knew, there were $1,000 bills in the world. Like, I don't know. My parents weren't rich. Probably why I never seen one. But $1,000 bills? Okay, you know what, movie? Kiss my ass. As this money is coming in, Joe is over here sticking money into his pockets, right? Now, sometimes he was kind of being discreet about it, but sometimes he was just literally like, yeah, you know, you guys, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Just in the open, like everyone can see his ass. So, so Miss Perry leaves the farm and she's looking for Joe, and somehow she just wanders into this room. Don't know how she did that, but she finds Joe, and Joe's like, hey, pretty lady, ha ha ha. And so he's just giving her all this money, like, here's $15,000. I sold the bus. But she's more concerned about the fact that he sold the bus than like he just gave her $15,000. But then when the people in the scheme find out what's happening, like they have like these two like big bodyguards. So the main guy's like, hey, go get this fool. Like he has our money. So now there's this whole like cat and mouse chase. They go to this weird like SWAT meet room thing, which is like super dark inside. So it just gets super ridiculous. Like there's a part where this one guy gets hit with like this rubber bat, which Joe didn't know was a rubber bat. But when the guy looks back, they kind of pose like these mannequin like poses. But come on now, brother, you can't see the two black people you were chasing on these two. Like Joe is dressed as a black cowboy. Like how are you? I don't care if it's dark in there or not. Like how the hell do you not know? These are the two people you're looking for. And then this one guy's about to beat Miss Perry with a plunger, and she just says like the most funniest line.
This young lady's whacking.
Wait a minute! You gonna hit me with a plunger? Are you crazy?
Then we got this funny like getaway scene, but it's hilarious. Like Joe turns his big fan on, which you guys still to this day, like I would love to stand in front of one of these vending machines. Like if I could buy one of these, I will. This looks so much fun. So anyway, they get away by him putting on this fan, but I don't think Miss Perry knows that he did that because she's like, they're coming. Come on, Joe, they're coming. And they break the door off this truck because she thinks they're following them. But no one's behind them. It's just so dumb. All right. So anyway, the movie's about to end. So what happens is they get back to the farm. They kind of profess their love to each other. Like, look, I don't care about the money. I care about you. And we get a sweet little moment. But then Perry sees this black expensive car behind them. And she's like, whose car is this, right? So it's actually the car of the guy who she went to talk to at the bank, who was also the mayor of the town. I don't know why he had to have all these titles. But apparently these kids, I forgot which kid told her. Did he say it was Julio, that liar? Actually, now that I think about it, I think he did. But they were like, yeah, we were talking to the kids. And like Julio said that you guys, there was like a snowstorm and you guys did this. And y'all hitchhiked and like just, they were telling this man all this bullshit, right? And so I guess because of what they all went through, he was like, okay, I decided I'll give you guys the loan and I'm going to make these kids property of this state, right? Because here comes fucking Donald again, just at the right time. He's like, okay, that's it, y'all. Like, no more bullshit. Y'all are coming back with me. And that's when the mayor was like, nope, boop. They'll stand here. So the kids get to stay. Perry doesn't have to worry about the money because she's going to get it from the bank. However, Joe is still property of Donald, right? Parole. So he's like, come on, Braxton, you're coming back with me at least. So he gets his stuff. We get the cool line from Ernesto.
I ain't no loser, I'm a tough Puerto Rican.
And then Joe drives off with Donald. Or does he?
Get out. Go on back home.
Yay, so Donald's probably like, you know what? Y'all put me through some shit. For like days. He's like, fuck it, just go. And it's really funny because Joe and Vivian are like pretty much making out in front of Donald, who was in a relationship with Vivian. So there's like this whole like weird like triangle, but not really because the triangle's broken because fuck Donald. So yeah, Donald just is a loser in the end. So that's it, you guys. They start playing my song. And then the credits roll. So, yes, that was Bustin Loose. It's a really fun story, but especially when you're an adult and you look at it back, maybe when it was like in the 80s and you're an adult, you're probably like, you know what? We love that Richard Pryor. Ooh, Richard Pryor, right? But no, y'all got to watch this movie as an adult and analyze it because it makes no sense. It just goes crazy. But it's still a fun watch. It's really enjoyable. Okay. So, I'm going to rest my voice. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to make a doctor's appointment because this ain't going to work. Okay. But in the meantime, I am going to rate Bustin Loose. And today, since we're talking about black people, Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson, we're going to have some black drinks. All right, you guys. So I'm going to give Bustin Loose 3 shots. It's a fun watch. It's still funny. There's times I still watch it. I'm like, that is so fucking hilarious. There are a lot of road trips I've been on where shit has happened. I go, oh yeah, you know what? I kind of like that movie Bustin Loose. Like I said, like the movie should have been over, and I feel like someone was like, "Oh, it ain't over yet. We got to write some drama and some craziness into this." So let's put Richard Pryor in a cowboy outfit. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. It's so stupid. All right, you guys. So 3 shots. All right. So I'm gonna take these 2. It's gonna burn my mouth, but in the meantime, cheers. Oh, brown liquor was probably a bad idea in this situation. If you guys see Bustin Loose, let me know in the comments below. What were your favorite parts? Who's your favorite kid out of these 8 weirdos? Oh my god, don't look at me. Wait, don't look at me. Oh, that was rough. Oh, my throat. All right, I'm going to go take a nap after this. You guys, if you have any answers to that Angel Ramirez question I asked, like he's the one that went on to do a whole bunch of acting to other things. Check his IMDb. Oh, my throat. Okay, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next episode if I am alive. Alrighty, guys, that's it. So until next time, TTFN.